Protest groups such as Just Stop Oil could be banned in a similar way to terrorist organisations under a proposal from the government's advisor on political violence.
Yeah, is it right to treat these protesters like terrorists? Are Just Stop Oil terrorising the country, or are they saving it from harm? Just Stop Oil's Kush Naker says they're employing disruptive methods, yes, but that's because legal methods haven't worked so far. They're not terrorists, they're activists. Broadcaster Christine Hamilton says, no, it's worse than that. They need to be brought under control. Very good morning to you both. Christine Hamilton, it's a legal right to protest. It might be annoying, it might be disruptive, but should it be banned?
Of course, it's a legal right to protest, and it's one of the great values and virtues of the British society is everybody's right to say what they want. Of course it is, but enough is enough. Nobody is saying that groups like Just Stop Oil and Palestine Action should necessarily be regarded as terrorists. I mean, we don't have a terrorist sitting in the studio, do we? It's using that word terrorist, I think, which has slightly muddied the waters, but they are extremists, and Just Stop Oil regularly, week after week after week, commit criminal actions. I mean, throwing red paint over a international headquarters of a company they might think is just making their point, but actually it is criminal action, and it is time that these groups are brought under control. We've had enough. Then the streets of London, for example, every Saturday for months and months and months, Palestine Action have brought them to a standstill. It's become a no-go area for normal citizens who are just trying to go about their business.
But Chrissy, we're not
Jews in particular.
But we're not talking here about enforcing the law or stopping criminal action. It's a step beyond that. The proposal is that the organisation would be prescribed, like a terrorist organisation. And if you're a prescribed organisation like Hizb ut-Tahrir or Hamas, then it wouldn't be possible for us to do what we're doing now, which would be to have a representative of the prescribed organisation, Just Stop Oil, in the studio to even be interviewed. I mean, that's the question. Should Kush be even here?
Well, these are proposals, aren't they? And they are just about to be published, and this has been, I think, 2 or 3 years in the making with Lord Walney. They are proposals. They're not going to prescribe them in the way that terrorist groups basically are completely banned, etc. They are going to be sort of quasi-prescribed, so it will bring them under control and it will give normal law-abiding people... I mean, why should the vast majority of the population have their lives disrupted, have their civil liberties and their rights be jammed by people like Just Stop Oil and Palestine Action? Well, nobody is saying that they are terrorists. That's not the point, but they are extremists and they use criminal activities. Look at those people the other day trying to break the Magna Carta, break the glass. That should not be allowed.
Yep, OK. So, this is the advisor on political violence and disruption recommending the government create extreme protests restriction orders, perhaps on Just Stop Oil, your organisation, Bush.
Yeah, so that type of action that you talked about at the Magna Carta last week, that sort of action would not be acceptable in normal times. But we're not in normal times. And to put into context why these sorts of actions are necessary, you actually just have to look at what the climate scientists are saying. They were surveyed just last week, and more than 300 of them responded when they were asked about how they feel and what they think the world will look like. And the description of the world that they give is one of death and destruction.
How far would you go to protest?
But if they're describing death and destruction, I think we need to do everything that is non-violently possible to try and stop that. And at the same time...
So you shouldn't face the same action as these groups to which you're being compared because your action is non-violent. That's your point? Yeah,
and that's a very fundamental point to make.
Well, it's stopping people getting to hospital by blocking roads so the ambulances can't pass is violent in its impact on people's lives. I mean, the thing I would say is I don't believe in prescribing you as a terrorist organisation, but what you do is the kind of thing those organisations do, which is disrupt ordinary people in a very damaging way. And I've always just thought it's totally counterproductive. You just lose the argument that way.
And it's criminal damage as well.
Everything that has been done to try and get us onto the correct course so far has not worked. And so the climate scientists themselves are saying that they are feeling hopeless, that they are in despair, and that they are terrified. And I echo all of those things. I work as a doctor myself,
yeah, but you're making it harder to make progress. You're making it harder. I mean, you lose the argument, not win it.
Yeah,
That's the trouble.
exactly.
But
I mean, you are counterproductive.
But taking actions like the one at the Magna Carta
Makes
has
it worse.
got me onto this television programme today, right? A few weeks ago, I went and protested at BP's AGM, right? That's where people tell us to go. They say, go to the fossil fuel companies. They say, go to the meetings.
I would tell you to
That
go to
got
China
almost
and
no
protest
media
where the
coverage.
real problem
OK.
is.
Unfortunately, we have to end the debate there. Thank you both very much indeed.